Oh boy, guys, it is hot out here. It is still 81 degrees and it is currently 8 o'clock at night. This is a continuation of the first part of the video that I shot from my garage, where I cleaned all this stuff up and got it kind of out of the way, and it's kind of all just sitting over there right now. But my point is that I have started working on the workbench. This is a 23 and 7/8 inch wide section of plywood. The guy at Lowe's cut it a little bit, just a, what is that, an eighth? Yeah, an eighth of an inch, under 24 inches wide, and it is 8 feet long. As I explained in the last video, there's the other half of it. I got a 4x8 sheet of it. Cost me $62 for this because it is a very smooth top, pretty thick inch, or pretty thick. I think it's 3/4 of an inch or 7/16 or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember. I think the sticker's on the back here. Oh yeah, there's the sticker. Crap, about fell over. What does it say? 1/2 inch maple plywood. So it's a 1/2 inch maple plywood, and then I've got 4 more over there. I've got 4 2x4s over there that are like 8 feet 8 inches long, and then I've got 4 right here that are 8 feet pretty much exactly, and then I've got this frame that I already started building. The frame is 24 inches wide, and it's 8 feet long. I want my workbench to be an 8-foot workbench, so there's plenty of space to be able to do whatever I need to do on it. These middle supports are at 2 feet, 4 feet, and 6 feet on center from the end, and I already laid that down on top of this, and this actually is supposed to be 8 feet. It's like 8.5 feet long. So instead of trying to cut off the extra 1/2 inch, I'm just going to let a 1/4 of an inch hang off of both the left and right hand side, because why not? It's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to make it look bad or anything. I got those 3 that you see right there from underneath the shed when I moved into the house. They were all stored under the shed, which is why they're weathered. I think they're pre-treated lumber. So because my garage floor does sometimes get wet a little bit, I'm actually going to try to clean up those 3. I think the long one is big enough to get 2 pieces out of. So as long as I've got 78 inches here, which I do, it is 96 inches, it is 8 feet. I should be able to, I'll just make it an even 40. But I'll just make the height of the workbench 40 inches. I am going to try, and I'm going to try to clean these up a little bit. I'm going to continue cutting some stuff. I think I want to put some shelves underneath of this. So I have to think of the design that I want. I think I'm just going to split the difference. I want to have an opening where I can slide a chair under the desk if I want to. So I think I will split the difference between these two. That should be about 2 feet. So 3 feet this way and 3 feet that way, and then leave the middle open so that I could like roll a chair underneath of it and get up to the edge of the workbench if I need to. But I'm probably going to make a shelf that's right there at the 3 foot mark, and I'm just gonna go from there. The outside corners, all 4 of these corners are going to be those reclaimed 3x3 posts. So I'm gonna, like I said, I got to get them cut down, cleaned up, maybe sand them after they dry too. This project is going to take me several days because, well, like I said, it's currently Sunday and it's 8 o'clock at night. I have to work tomorrow as usual, so I probably won't be able to attack this again until this coming weekend. once I get this garage all squared away and get my daughter and son-in-law's crap out of here, I will be parking the Crosstrek in the garage. It's just a big mess. I'm working on it. Workbench is part of that, getting that done. I also think that I might put upper shelves on this. I know that these 2x4s that I have here are probably not going to be enough to do everything I need to do. I'm going to get back to configuring and figuring out how I want the rest of this bench to look. Like I said, probably going to have 3-foot shelves on the left and the right hand side and leave the middle open. I can store my shop vac under there while I'm not using that space to get my shop vac out of the way, because it is currently in the way every time I move around in the garage. Alright, so this is going to be it for tonight. I still have my mess to clean up, so I've still got to put all this stuff away. But I assembled the top. I have to recondition these boards still, but I trimmed them all down to 40 inches. Same with these. These are going to be the front portion of the legs for the left-hand shelf and the right-hand shelf. So those are all at 40 inches as well. So right there's the mark. Just barely left the mark on them. And then I screwed the top down to this whole thing, and what I did was I used my big Pittsburgh carpenter square here, which worked out pretty good, like really good actually. And I just ran it along the edge where these screws are for these crossbars and put those screws in. I used the white screws that I had left from whenever I built the cabinet, just because I thought it would look better with white screws in the top. Plus they're too short to really use for structural support of putting anything together. Let's see, the white screws are only 1 5/8, but the black ones that I have here are 2 1/2, and so I'm using these to assemble all of the main frame pieces. Like you know, obviously you can see there's 2 here going into that, same here, 2 here, 2 here. On the other side, same thing, there's 2 on the other side. And then I actually put pocket holes on these end pieces, and used pocket holes for all of the ends. And then once it was all together, I put 1 screw right here in the middle. So there's 3 screws holding the corner pieces together. So my goal is to just take one of these and slip it up in that corner, and then if I can find them real quick, I think I got them over here in my pile of stuff. I'm actually going to use these, I think they're 2 or 2 1/2 inch lags, and I'm going to lag through the 2x4. I'm going to pre-drill the hole for it first, but I'm going to put a lag through the 2x4 on the end, and put 1 lag in each side. I'll put one up a little bit up high, and then down here I'll put 1 in this corner here, and then I'll put 1 screw and 1 screw. So I'll put a lag in each corner, or on each side, and then I'll put a screw on it as well. I don't think it needs 4 lags, but I want to make sure that it's stable. If those aren't quite long enough, I also have what I believe to be 3-inch lag bolts. Something that I figured out whenever I was cutting these reclaimed 3x3s. I'm pretty sure this is cedar. It sure smells like cedar. And I know that cedar is a lot more resistant to rot than pine is. So using the cedar posts for the legs is going to make a big difference on the longevity, because sometimes rain comes in. As you can see here, the wood's a little rotten right there. Rain comes around the corner, comes into the garage, and rolls up over this way. And that's where the bench is going to be, the workbench is going to be. So I need to make sure that the legs that are supporting the workbench are something that is resistant to rot. Alright, so it's going to go basically right there in that corner, and it's going to extend out to here, which is just perfect. Leaves just enough room between the workbench and that shelf that honestly, if I needed to get that shelf out of there, I could probably grab the edges and pull it this direction, kind of angle it and turn it, and I could get that shelf out of there if I needed to. Thought this might work, I wasn't sure, but this is kind of the plan right now. So I'm going to run, I might replace this leg because as you can see it's a little crooked. But anyway, I've got another one of these out in the shed that I can probably replace it with. But the other three look nice and straight. But anyway, this is the goal or the plan. Lag through this into here and there and some screws and stuff, and get these legs in here nice and tight. And then all along whichever one of these I decide, I don't know if this is going to be the back or if this is going to be the back. I don't know yet. Haven't figured that out or decided. But what I am going to do is I'm going to, whichever one is the back, I'm going to put a 2x4, an 8-foot 2x4, all the way across the whole back of it to secure those 4 pieces together. And then whichever is the front, I will just do a piece from here to here and a piece from there to there, and leave that open space in the front so that, like I said, if I bring a chair out here, like a tall chair, or I've got some an old computer chair that I don't care about down in the basement area, that way I can slide underneath of it and do some work at the workbench if I need to. But that's the goal right now. I'm going to stop for tonight and pick up all that mess. I'll catch you whenever I get a chance to get back to this project. Alright, I'm back on the project workbench. I've been out here for about an hour. I haven't really recorded anything just because it's not a whole lot to see. I'm just kind of going to go over the steps that I used and the design and thought process that I have. So last part of this video that I shot, which was about 5 days ago, I had basically put together the top of this. It is 8 feet long and 2 feet wide, and I cut down these posts that are going to be my reclaimed wood that are, going to give it some character. I am going to sand them down and clean them off. They're kind of dirty with cobwebs and stuff like that, but I'm going to sand them down. After that, that'll be my legs. So those are all at 40 inches. So the top will sit roughly 40 inches. So it'll be, the top will be roughly right here, which just it seems like a pretty great workbench height for me, at least. That way I'm not bending over too much. I'm not super tall, but I also don't want to bend over a lot. Oh, and then I've decided that I wanted to have not just the workbench itself, but I wanted to have shelves up to the top, right? So, or a shelf. I want to have one big long shelf along the top of it. So I have also been in the process today of making this. So this is a 16-inch wide, 8-foot long section for the top shelf that's going to go across the workbench. And so, 2x4s are 1.5 inches wide. So that's 3 inches. And then so those supports in the middle are all 13 inches, making it a total of 16 inches wide. There's going to be one shelf, well, technically 2 shelves, one on the very bottom that's just going to kind of sit up off the ground, and then one in the middle on the left hand and right hand side. So I'm going to need 4 more pieces of wood that are 2 foot by 3 foot. So I'm going to need to get another sheet of that plywood. So I'll probably just use that, and I'll cut it down for the shelves. And then this upper portion here, I'll get Lowe's to cut 16 inches off of another piece. And that upper one doesn't even have to be real good quality wood. Like, I want this part and the shelves that are down low on both sides of the workbench to be good quality wood. But I can get a cheaper wood for this, because this is just going to be sitting way up here, and you're not even going to be able to see the top of it. I've got the height for that top upper shelf set to 72 inches. So unless you're taller than 72 inches, you won't be able to even see the top of it. So I can get a lower quality plywood to put there, which helps me out in other ways. My shed needs some of the plywood underneath repaired and the shingles put back on it, and I'm trying to get all that stuff done before wintertime gets here and it gets cold outside and crappy to work in. So I'll get a cheaper plywood that will still work good for this project, but I can also use the remainder of this to fix the shed in the backyard. These are the additional, these are 36 inches because I'm going to screw them to the sides, and now that unfortunately I'll have to, notch out because I didn't cut off the little excess right here and I just let it hang over. I'm going to have to use my oscillating multi-tool or something and cut out this little section right here where I put the posts. So it'll probably be from here down 3.5 inches, and then wherever the other one lands at along here, I have to cut out a little notch of 3.5 inches on both sides because I didn't trim that down. I didn't think about the fact that if I wanted to put shelves on here, I'd need to do that. I might need to grab a couple more 2x4s also. One of those is going to be the piece that runs all along the back side of the shelves. Yeah, both of those boards are taken up, supporting the shelves on the bottom. That's where I'm at with it. It's coming along. I'm getting things done. I'm probably going to work on cleaning all the dirt and mud off of the legs that I'm going to be using. So these two and these two, I'm gonna get them sanded down and cleaned off and stuff and get them ready. So I got the 4 legs just kind of laid down here together. This will be the first part that I've tried on it so far. I'll probably have to change the sandpaper out pretty quickly, but let's just see what they start to look like. So just what I kind of figured, the wood underneath is much prettier than what's here. I was afraid that the legs were going to make the workbench look stupid because they look like this now, but after sanding them, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not worried about the splits. It'll still look good. It'll just add character. Alright, so I am finished with the first post. It took me about 10 minutes to sand it down. So for about 40 minutes of my time, I can have nice solid wood aged cedar posts for the workbench. So I just went and looked it up, and an 8-foot long 4x4 cedar post is $56. I would have probably had to buy 2 of them. So by spending 40 minutes just reconditioning these so that they can be used, I'm saving myself around $112. At least if I wanted to use cedar for the legs, which in this case I do because I have it. If I wasn't going to do it, then they do have ground contact pine that looks like it's like I think I said it was $25 for an 8-foot section, which I would have had to buy 2 of them. And so I saved myself $50 by spending 40 minutes reconditioning these. And I don't know, I think they look good. They have character. And, you know, next to the new wood, the reconditioned ones don't look bad. The old ones, yeah, they kind of look like crap. Well, I'm done. I don't think any of these 3 turned out nearly as good as this one did, as far as the color, the way the color looks on it. But they still look nice. You know, they're not going to be a total eyesore compared to the rest of the new wood. I don't know, maybe I'm making a mistake by using this wood, but this stuff has been here since before I bought the house. And it looks like it had been underneath the shed for quite some time. So I kind of think it's poetic to use it to build the workbench for the garage. I don't know, maybe I'm making a mistake. You guys are watching this video, why don't you clickety-clack some thoughts or comments in the comment section. You know, am I making a mistake? Should I buy new wood? You know, I don't know. I mean, maybe if you guys think I am making a mistake, I'll take the legs off and I'll put new ones on. But I do like the way that they look. That wood grain is popping pretty good on it. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that it's cedar. It might be pine, I don't know, but it smelled like cedar whenever I was cutting the ends off of them. Now that I have that done, and I can actually put the legs on, I'm going to start assembling the workbench. So I just put my first couple lags into this post, and it's already pretty stable for just having one lag here and one lag here. There will be crossbars going across the back to kind of support everything together, and across the front and stuff. And then of course I'm going to have shelves in the middle, so there will be stuff going across the sides too to support everything. But basically what I did is I just kind of found the middle of the post. So, well, that's about the middle of the post. And I went down to the middle of the 2x4 and drilled a hole. And I didn't want to drill into the post because I want all of the power of the lag to be able to pull it in. And then I did the same thing on the other side. And then I just set the post in place and used my 1/2-inch socket on my impact here and drove it in there and pulled it in nice and tight. Alright, there we go. 4 legs that are fairly securely attached to the bottom. One of the things I did that helped a lot was actually I took that C-clamp right there, and whenever I put that side bolt in, I C-clamped the post to the 2x4. That way it would stay where it needed to stay and pull it in and everything. And I did the same thing whenever I put that lag bolt in. I C-clamped this post to that board so that it would pull it in and keep it nice and tight. I didn't do it with this one, and this one's slightly less stable than the other ones, but I did it with all the other 3. So now I'm going to work on putting in the leg supports, which would be these, I think. Yeah, these leg supports for the shelves that are going to go in it. And like I said before, they're going to go 3 feet from that side and 3 feet from this side inward, and leave a 2-foot gap in the middle where I can possibly like slide myself into it or whatever, sit on a chair, or be able to sit at the workbench to do some work if I need to. Plus, whenever I'm not using that space, I can slide my my big ass wet dry vac underneath of the bench and get it out of the way. Okay, so this is where I'm at with it. I've got, obviously you saw me put the legs on already, the original legs on, the end pieces already, but Now I've got the shelf supports mounted, so now I need to figure out where or how tall I want to make the shelves, and I also need to, I'm just going to be flipping this up. So this is actually the front, so I need to leave this space open. This is the area where I'll be able to slide under and sit under and store the shop vac under whenever I get it all done. So along the back here is going to be the first support. That's in the 8-foot board. It'll go across the back and tie all of those together, and it'll be the back portion of the shelf for this little area that's going to be one of the shelves, and that area that's going to be one of the shelves. And I've decided I don't want to have any on the ground storage underneath of it. So there's actually going to be 2 8-foot 2x4s running across it, one at the middle shelf height, and then one slightly above the ground along the back of it. That's going to be the bottom shelf. So there will essentially be 2 shelves on each side. So there will be one shelf lower to the ground and one shelf in the middle, and that'll be on both sides. So I've got the tape measure set up on here just to make sure that I was right, and I was. Here's the 8-foot mark. So this is 8 foot 8 and almost 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to measure at the 8-foot mark and cut it off and get the other one to the other one right there. That one is the same length as this one, I believe, so I'm going to have to trim it down as well. Well, I've got it flipped over. Once I flipped it over, I realized that in my haste to do everything, like this edge right here, there's a slight amount of 2x4 sticking out over it. This edge is flush, and I wanted the flush edge to be the front. So I had to pick this freaking thing up and drag it out into the driveway and spin it around and put it back in here. I got it done. It wasn't easy, kind of sucked, but it's done. What I have decided for the shelving and for the back pieces, the 2 8-foot pieces that are going to run all the way across, is I want the middle shelf to be 19-20 inch range off of the ground. Get under there. All right, so 19 inches is right there. So that will give me, let's see, what is the total distance under here? So we're at about 36 3/4 underneath of here. So 19 is about even, about halfway. So 19 is about halfway up the shelf, or up the leg for the shelf. So I think 19 seems like a good height. And it's hot out here today, guys. I think it's, what does it say? It's 86 degrees out here, and it's gonna rain here in a little while. So it's 86 and cloudy, and it's still freaking miserable out here. This is what the weather looks like. So the sky is overcast, but it is dead out here. There is no wind, just humidity and heat, and so it sucks. But I got to get this done because the cold is closing in soon. Probably, let's see, but tomorrow the temperature is supposed to drop 10 degrees off of today, and then the rest of the week it's supposed to be about 15 degrees colder than it is today, and it's just going to keep getting colder as winter approaches. So I got to get this done so I can get to working on the shed and get the shed roof fixed before winter gets here. So because the upper shelf is going to be mounted to the outside here, and I didn't cut off this excess edge that was on here, I had to use my oscillating multi-tool, my Bauer oscillating multi-tool, and notch out the spot where the 2x4s are going to come up through right here, It actually looks pretty nice when you put it in there. So it'll be something kind of like this, mounted in there. Almost looks like I planned it like that. I did countersink this bolt with the ratchet as much as I could get it. The socket is now just slipping off of it. I can't get it any deeper than that. So I might have to sand down the spot where this board contacts that, or just hammer it in there so there's an indentation of the bolt in the back of the board. Either way, I have to do the same thing to this side so that there's a notch for the 2x4s to come through, and then start figuring out what the lengths for these boards are going to be. It looks like somewhere around 21 inches, maybe 21 and a quarter, I don't know, something like that. I have to make sure these legs are level too. Obviously I got the backboard on here, and to my surprise it's actually freaking level as hell. I'm gonna work on figuring out how many more pieces of wood I need to buy, because I definitely don't have enough. So these 4 have been earmarked and cut for the shelf, for the top shelf here. So I need to put that one on here too. That one's going to be lower, but it's going to go across the back also. I'm going to put it a lot lower though. That way there's a lot more room right here, and then the lower shelf going to be for some smaller stuff that, you know, just can sit in the back or whatever. I might just run it straight across the bottom, the 2x4 straight across the bottom. No, because it gets wet over here sometimes along this edge of the wall, so I'll knock it up. You know, maybe I'll put it at 4 inches, so there's a ½ inch gap between the 2x4 and the floor. I'm gonna get to figuring this out. The big box stores start closing soon. For I think Lowe's might be open until 9 tonight. So I got about 3 hours until they close, and I need to figure out how much more wood I need to buy. Well, I don't know if it's the heat or something else. I think it's probably heat, but I'm actually starting to feel a little bit sick. Like my head's hurting really bad, and I'm feeling maybe dehydrated. I don't know. But this is where I am at with the project. I'm probably going to stop for the night just because I feel like crap. I put panel board along the back. It was extra panel board from when I built the cabinet for my kitchen that was just sitting in my shed, and I seen it and I was like, that would be perfect to put back there to try to help prevent stuff from falling off of this middle shelf right here onto the ground. So I did it. I put it on there. I still have to make the sides for the shelves and the front, and get another piece of plywood cut for the top for this shelf. But I am getting very close to being done. I just unfortunately feel kind of sick. I think it's the heat. So I'm gonna have to wrap this up for tonight and try to feel better, and then come back tomorrow hopefully and finish it up. So I'll see you guys here in a little while. What's up, everybody? Back at it with the workbench finally. It's been about a week. Stopped off at Lowe's, my favorite big box store to shop for lumber at, and I picked up a couple more 2x4s, some more screws, and some more plywood. So I got this 8-foot section. It's 15/32 plywood. I don't remember what kind it was. Honestly, I picked it because it was cheap. It's 3-ply plywood, and I got a 16-inch strip cut off of it while I was there because that's what I need for the top of that. So 8-foot 16-inch section will go on top of that, and that will be my upper shelf. Since last video, I think maybe in the last video I had these two posts up for the upper shelf, but I don't remember. Either way, those two are up now also, and I leveled everything out with said level, and so hopefully the top shelf goes on without any trouble. But this plywood has, I don't know if it's mold or what it has on it, but all of the sheets had it. So I am going to quickly just rough sand it with the hand sander and get the top of it looking nicer. The other side isn't bad. See, the other side looks normal. So I'm going to sand that down, and then like I said, I did get more 2x4s. I'm going to try to use up these pieces first before I cut into those, but I have to finish off both of the lower or all 4 of the lower shelves. So that is what all of the extra 2x4s are hopefully going to be for. Some of them, like I know this piece right here, not very big, but it looks definitely long enough to go from there to there. Well, the weather turned real fast. I knew there was a potential for rain today, but it just unloaded and started pouring down rain. I didn't even notice it at first because I had the sander going, and I was actually had the board laid right there on the ground, and I started feeling some wetness on my arm because I was facing away from the driveway, and I look up and I see all this. In other news, this is sanded now. It took me about 8 minutes to sand that whole thing down with the little orbital sander. Wherever the heck I put it. There it is. So I'm going to get this board, and I'm going to mount it on there. So it's a little while later, and I have the top mostly mounted to the frame for the top. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened, but this end of the board was 16 inches from one side to the other, but that end down there had all this extra on it. It was like sticking up like a 1/4 of an inch, or like 2/3 of an inch above this end. It's flush down there, and it was sticking up here. So I did what I could to cut it off, and as you see, I managed to get most of that edge off using my Warrior reciprocating saw. I bought this to cut up some metal brackets on the car, and so I only had thick metal bimetal bits to use, or tips to use, but it still managed to get the job done, not without a couple of mistakes though. I ended up cutting into the wood a little bit here and here and here actually, but it's okay. This can be the backside. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be mostly flush. But then I just hit it with the Bauer orbital sander and cleaned the edge up as best as I could. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, like I said, this can be the backside. It can go up against the wall. Nobody will ever see it or know it's there, except for everybody watching this video and myself. I've got screws in these corners. They're all at 4 inches, so 4 inches that way, 4 inches that way, same thing this way and this way. And then I've got screws in the cross 2x4s, 4 inches in on every single one also. And then down here the same thing, 4, 4, 4, and 4, 4 inches all the way around. So, I mean, it just has to hold the top on. That should be good, right? I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 screws holding it in there, so I don't think it's going anywhere. And again, like I said, this side can be the back. Now I just have to figure out how to suspend it in the air and screw it in. I mean, is it a dumb idea if it works? This board's too tall, but I don't care right now. That's not the point. I just needed to figure out how I was going to hold up both ends. This board is almost perfectly the height that I need it. I have not put any screws in yet. It's just kind of sitting up here. So what I figure I will do is get this side leveled out mostly and put one screw in it, and then that way I can pivot on that screw and kind of adjust it. So it's pretty much flush with the back right now, and almost completely flush with the top. There's a tiny dip right here, but whenever this rotates down, because it's sticking up, that dip should disappear. So I think one screw right here right now in this position should set this one so that I can put the other one in and get it lined up, and then start working on lining up the other side, probably using this board for support on that side since that one's too tall. But like I said, is it a dumb idea if it works? I'm only one person and I can't hold up both ends. Alright, there we go. The upper shelf is installed, and it is just a hair unlevel on this side. My garage floor is not perfect either, so that could be contributing, but this side is tilting just ever so slightly that much. It's being perfectly level, but again, garage floor not level. And then that side's pretty much perfectly level. But again, it's also just gonna, I'm gonna probably put things like, fasteners and boxes, and more than likely this car charger, I'll throw it back in the box and put it up there. I know there's not a lot of room between the garage door hangers and this, but this is going to go up against the wall, and it's going to leave more space in between getting things, or to be able to get things up there, basically. I want to mount that vise up here. So I'm going to get that off of there and figure out where I want to put this up here. Tell you what, as far as being able to be out in the garage working on a project, this weather is damn near perfect. I mean, aside from it being rainy, it's a wet, rainy day outside. The temperature is, here, let me check here. My watch says it's 68 degrees. So it's 68 degrees, and I'm just out in the garage enjoying building this. I do think eventually I would like to have lights and outlets installed, or lights installed up there and maybe outlets installed somewhere on the bench. But that'll be a project for a later date. I just got to get this thing finished first. As luck would have it, the vise is designed to put on a corner. It's got those 3 mounts, like I said, and I can just put one in, a lag in the 2x4 all the way down through all the 2x4s. So I don't actually have to do anything extra. So the vise is mounted. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it so that this jaw was out far enough. The design of this vise does not make that seemingly very possible. If I put it any further close to the edge, look, it already started to split the wood a little bit right here, putting that lag in. But if I put it any closer to the edge, I wouldn't have had enough meat to bite on. The same thing with this one. If I put it any further this way, so that I could put stuff off the edge this way, there wouldn't have been any meat to bite on. So it is what it is. I'll still be able to clamp stuff in it. It's not some big amazing vise, but it'll get the job done for the things that I work on and the stuff that I do. I'll have somewhere to clamp things now. The rain picked up also, and it's raining harder now than it was earlier. I did use 3-inch lags to put this down, so it's not going anywhere anytime soon, I don't think. And that's just one more part of the project that's done now. I got the top done, and I've got, well, this part done as well. I'll monitor this for sagging, but I don't think it's going to sag. I'm not going to be putting anything super heavy up there. I do have to put more screws on the ends to help make sure that this shelf doesn't fall. I'll probably put 2 more here and here. Same thing here and here and on the other side. That way it's nice and stable and I don't have to worry about things falling down. But I'll monitor it over time, and if it looks like it's sagging in the middle, I'll pocket hole board right here, or diagonal screw a board right here and go up here and put a support board underneath right there. But for now I like having the open feeling, and so we'll see if this sags or not. So we're moving along. I've got the outside frame edge, which is also going to be part of the shelf, finished. So what I'm going to do is, well, I've got the right and left sides done, and of course the back is already done because it's that one right there. And I'm going to put one from here all the way across to here and frame in a square. And the really nice plywood that I got right there, or maple board that I got right there, I'm going to cut it down, and I'm going to cut it from this all the way across to this, and I'm going to notch out these posts, and the shelf is going to extend out this way. That way I can have all of this room from here to here that I can actually store stuff on if I need to. And yeah, so I'm going to do that there, and then I just stepped on that box of screws and dumped it out because I have a mess to clean up. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I've already got these boards all screwed in nice and stable like, and same thing, I'm going to notch the wood out right here, and it's going to go across on, basically I'm going to notch out that corner, and I'm going to notch out this corner, and it's going to go across and screw down to that outside board. I just think it'll look nicer that way. Alright, I've gotten the 2 shelves that are going to be on the left side completed except for the top. So that's basically what it's going to look like, except for it'll have that piece of plywood or maple plywood, whatever. That will be the topper for this, for shelf number 1 and then shelf number 2. Those lower boards right there, like I did the same thing on those I did on the back ones. They are raised up off the ground like a ½ inch, I think it is, or roughly a ½ inch. And then of course these boards across the front help to support this leg and give it some rigidity, because that leg, even with just these on there, it was kind of floppy a little bit, but it is nice and solid now. Now I just have to go through and screw in this board and the other one on the other side, this one, and then put the 2 front faces on, and then all I have left is the toppers for both of them. Something that I thought about while I was doing this is that obviously I'm going to be at least somewhat screwing down the toppers. I need to make sure that I put the bottom one in first. That way I have the ability to screw down into the boards from the top, and then I'll put the top one in. But I'm going to get that side finished off, and then probably push it up against the wall, and because it'll be, the rest of it is just the toppers. Everything else is done, guys. All right, there is the final shelf area built, and I went ahead and cleaned it off and got it pushed up against the wall. It came out perfect, exactly what I was looking for. It's going to be plenty high enough that I don't have to stoop down. I am over 40 and do not want to have to stoop down as much as possible. Sorry. I got my vise set up and ready to use. I do think that I will probably, more than likely, install pegboard on the back wall right here, and a light above. Only thing I have not done is that. I have not cut that down. At this point, right now, I have only spent about $156 to make this, plus my time and effort, of course. That's where I'm at with it. I like it. I'll like it even more when I can start using it, because my plan is to try and eliminate most of this. Get rid of these shelves, or use them in a different manner. Maybe put them back here in the corner and put some other stuff on it that might need to go on it or could go on it. I also want to be able to put my toolbox over here. All right, so I got the toolbox set up there. I had to scoot it away from the wall a little bit so that I can be able to open and close the lid. That's that. I'm going to put some stuff up here. I'm going to go ahead and start loading some of the things up on the top shelf that I wanted to put up on the top shelf. Things like a lot of the stuff on this table, actually. I've got bit kits, and I've got my pulley remover, and I've got all of these boxes over here of things that are just small and could easily go up there and still be easily accessible. All right, so it's about 9:30. Obviously it's dark out. It's a Saturday night. This is still where I'm at with the workbench. I have not cut those pieces yet because it was pouring down rain whenever I needed to go get my saw out of the shed and my circular saw, and so I did not do that part yet. But what I did do is start going through the table and these two shelves right here to figure out what I can keep, what I can get rid of, what I want, what I don't want, and trying to think of where I'm going to put all of the stuff over here once I do get the shelves all done up and ready to go. But I've already got the top shelf lined pretty good with stuff. I mean, this is a keyhole saw, bits for the Dremel, just a random bit assortment thing. It's got like 150 different bits and different things like that. Yeah, this is just literally nothing but bits. The other one has bits and blades and all kinds of stuff. This is just a random assortment of bits. 100 piece security bit set. I've got my chisels right there. I think I'll try to do something different with those. Pocket hole saw or pocket hole jig, sander, angle grinder, and a turbo rim smooth cutting diamond blade for it. My powered drill, that would be the pulley puller, the case for my torque wrench, my Sawzall, that's the Dremel, some numbers like stickers for the house, a letter and numbering sign set. It's very old. And then what is that? The ball joint service kit, my taps and dies, a random toolkit that was given to me, my exhaust pipe expander kit, plugs and O-rings, and my Chicago Electric impact wrench, and the box that has the extra parts and pieces for this TV mount in it. So I just started lining it all up down there. Some of that will stay up there, some of it will come down and go to these lower shelves when I finish them. But seeing as how it's already 9:30 and I wasn't able to get my circular saw out of the shed before it got too late, I guess tomorrow I'll be cutting up the board over there, that one right there behind me, that one there. I'll be cutting that up along with the other sheet here. Like I said, this one will be, I'll just make this one the bottom of both of those because I'm not spending another $62 on that. I already spent $150 and I'm trying to do this as cheaply as possible. And so far I think it has come out looking wonderful, and it's sturdy and stable, and it presses up against the wall, so I shouldn't have to worry too terribly much about like stuff falling back there. I mean, it's all the way up against the wall. That's it for now. I'm going to wrap the video up for tonight, and I'll bring you back tomorrow whenever I'm able to get the circular saw out and cut this thing up. Alright guys, I've been out here for about 2 hours today, Sunday. Last video I ended about 9:30 last night. I've been out here cutting up the tops for the shelves, and I finally got them cut and finished. So of the woods that I got one 8-foot by 4-foot section of maple plywood that is much better quality. I spent $62 on that piece, but that wasn't going to be enough to do the additional shelves that I had, which I hadn't actually planned to do 2 of the shelves. That was a later thought, effort, whatever. But these are the ones. So on the left is the maple plywood that was $62 for a 4-foot by 8-foot section, and then this is the other. This was just regular, I don't even know what kind it was, but it was like $22 for a sheet, 8-foot by 4-foot section of it. So this is what it looked like after I got it cut, and then I actually went through and I sanded one of those, and now it looks like that. So I think it makes the grains pop a little more, and obviously it makes it a little bit brighter too, to get it more close to what that is. But I wasn't about to spend another $62 on a whole full sheet of that when I only needed this much. Right here, these 2 sheets right here is what I was missing. So I'm going to sand that one down and get everything installed. I had already dry fit one of them down in the bottom of the shelf down there, and then I couldn't get it back out. I ended up having to take that cross support off over there to get the piece back out. And I need to get this out of here before I lock it in. The socket fell whenever I had to get my toolbox earlier. So I'll screw that back in after I get the bottom in there. But I'm going to sand this second sheet down real quick and then start fitting them in. Alright, there it is. All 4 shelves are now complete, except for some screws. I got to put some screws, probably just, I don't know, a couple, like 1 or 2 here, and then like 1 or 2 here, maybe 1 or 2 along the sides, just to kind of hold them in place. I actually had to hammer those 2 down because apparently this gap right here between this side and this side is a little bit less than what the gap on this side is. These just slid right in, had no issues on both of them, but those 2 both had to be hammered down in order to get them in. And look, it's still not all the way down. All right, now they're all the way down. So in all honesty, I probably don't have to hammer these two shelves in because they're not going to come up or out or move or anything because they're so tightly fit in there. But I'm going to anyway. I'll put a couple screws in it just because. But that's essentially it. That's the completed workbench. As you see, I've started going through stuff, trying to sort what goes where and what I want to get rid of. I did also hang, I've got this, it's basically a hole saw for going through the floors, not hole saw, like a whole bit to use. It's, I think it was 36 inches long to get through floorboards and in walls and stuff. It's really flexible. So it's really, really flexible. But I have not had anywhere good to put this thing for a long time. It's always in the way. I'm always afraid that I'm going to stab myself with it, trip on it or something. But I found I got these little tiny hooks out of this. This is a picture frame hanging kit that I got. And I got those little hooks out of there and I just hung it on that. So it works out pretty good. There's probably going to be some more things that I end up doing to the workbench eventually. Like I do think I would like to put pegboard on the back wall so I have more storage for tools and more easy access to some of the tools. So pegboard might be coming for it. But that's basically it. It's done. I've got my vise, I've got my upper shelf, I've got my lower shelves. I'll start figuring out what I want to put on them. I might actually cut out, I've got the squares for the corner here. Those are the old ones. Where's the other one at? What the heck did I do with them? Oh, there they are. So I've got the squares that I cut out for these corners. I might actually notch out this post and like brad nail or panel nail these down just to make that look a little bit nicer. It's an option. I'll hold on to these for that reason. But yeah, I've got my vise and it's secure on there. And again, my goal with this workbench is, first of all, A, to have a workbench, and B, to have better storage for all of the things that I have. And I want to eliminate, or mostly, either eliminate or repurpose these shelves. I've already, if you look, I've already cleared off 1, 2, 2.5 of the shelves, and I got a bunch of stuff off of these shelves too. And so I haven't even been able to use the bottom ones yet because I just got done making them. I'm sure that will go a long way in making everything nicer in the garage. That's going to be it, guys. So if you like the content, like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing is the best way to support the channel. And I will see you guys on the next video.